In our last episode, we looked at the governing body, the men in the cockpit, and why their direction carries so much weight. But knowing who witnesses are taught to trust is only the first step. The real question is how that trust becomes loyalty. The moment a person believes God is directing this organization, faith is no longer just about personal belief. It becomes about whether they are willing to follow direction, regardless of the personal cost. So today, we are exploring a vital question. How does a sincere person become so loyal to the organization that following direction can outweigh friendships, family relationships, and even their own peace of mind? That kind of loyalty doesn't appear overnight. It is built over time, one emotional brick at a time. In our next episode, we're going to dive into shunning. But before we can understand how someone reaches the point of cutting off a person they love, we have to understand the loyalty that makes that decision possible. To connect the dots, we are going to look at 8 areas where loyalty begins to form. Each one threads personal faith more closely to organizational loyalty. These 8 points may seem separate at first, but together they show how a sincere person can begin by trusting a message and eventually feel obligated to follow the organization, even when that loyalty affects family, friendships, and peace of mind. As we go through each one, pay attention to the pattern. By the end, you may recognize which part of the loyalty test had the strongest hold. Number 1, when the message feels personal. In reality, a person's connection to Jehovah's Witnesses forms long before they ever evaluate the organization. For converts, that bond may begin during a crisis through a trusted relationship. When someone offers answers or support during a vulnerable season, it can feel like divine intervention, sparking the belief, God sent this person to reach me. For born-ins, the process is structural. Raised inside the religion, they become a captive audience through family, congregation life, and constant repetition long before they are old enough to choose. For them, it can spark a different belief. This religion is the only safe place in the world. Either way, the emotional framework is locked in early, long before an individual fully examines the institution's doctrines or history. The loyalty framework is already in place. Organizational loyalty begins the moment a person genuinely believes God is connected to this. Number 2, this religion changed my life. Once someone believes God was connected to their introduction to Jehovah's Witnesses, the next emotional brick is personal change. For converts, the study can lead to real improvements. They may leave behind destructive habits, change their associations, find stability, or begin making choices that give their life more structure. And when things start getting better, the conclusion can feel obvious. This religion changed my life, but this is where the connection deepens. The person may not separate their own effort from the organization. Their better life, the congregation, and God's approval all begin to feel like one experience. For born-ins, the story is different. They may not have a dramatic before and after testimony, but they are taught from childhood that whatever safety, morality, or stability they have is connected to being raised in the truth. Either way, the organization becomes tied to personal rescue and identity. At that point, loyalty goes deeper. They are not just learning beliefs anymore. They are attaching their life story to the organization. Number 3, this is the truth. Once personal transformation is credited to the religion, identity becomes the next emotional brick. Jehovah's Witnesses usually do not describe their faith as simply my religion. They call it the truth. And that phrase changes everything. Once a person believes they have found the truth, leaving doesn't feel like a personal decision. It feels like walking away from the only place they were taught God's approval can be found. For Jehovah's Witnesses, the phrase the truth becomes more than a label. It becomes the way they define reality. They are not just attending meetings or studying publications anymore. They believe they are in the truth. And once that belief settles in, loyalty becomes more than appreciation for the people who helped them. It becomes the way they understand their life, their choices, and their future. Number 4, Bible stories become personal loyalty tests.
We love our Father, but we're not blind.
But it's not just a question of taking sides with mere men. We simply want to remain faithful to the one who appointed Moses, Jehovah. So the whole matter boils down to, how can I put it?
To loyalty. Loyalty to our Father and to family, or loyalty to Jehovah.
Once a person believes they are in the truth, Bible stories are no longer just ancient accounts. They become personal lessons about loyalty. Jehovah's Witnesses are taught to measure themselves against Bible characters. Noah becomes the example of staying faithful when the world does not listen. Korah becomes the warning against challenging Jehovah's arrangement. Judas becomes the reminder that someone close can become disloyal. Ananias and Sapphira become a warning about deception inside the congregation. Over time, these stories can start to act like a mirror. When a witness has doubts, questions, or disagrees with direction from the organization, the issue may not feel like simple disagreement anymore. It can start to feel like a spiritual test. The question becomes, who am I acting like in this story? That changes the stakes. Questioning leadership can feel like Korah. Pulling away can feel like weakness. Disagreeing can feel like disloyalty. But staying quiet, staying obedient, and staying loyal can feel like proof that a person is standing on Jehovah's side. For many Jehovah's Witnesses, this way of thinking gradually becomes part of their inner voice. Bible characters become personal examples used to shape the conscience. Over time, loyalty is no longer just something they practice. It becomes part of how they judge themselves. Number 5, the language of loyalty. Once Bible stories become personal loyalty tests, the next emotional brick is the language itself. Jehovah's Witnesses hear the word loyalty constantly. It appears in publications, talks, songs, meeting parts, and convention themes. Over time, loyalty stops being just a Christian quality. It becomes a measuring stick. Are you loyal to Jehovah? Are you loyal to the organization? Are you loyal when direction changes? Are you loyal when you do not fully understand? That kind of language changes how members process their own questions. A person may have concerns about a policy or feel uncomfortable with a decision, but instead of focusing only on the issue itself, the question can become, will I stay loyal anyway? That is what makes this so powerful. It doesn't just ask what a person believes. It asks what they are willing to surrender to prove they believe it. This language can become part of their inner voice. They learn early that loyalty is praised, while questioning or hesitation can be viewed as spiritual weakness. So when a difficult moment comes, the phrases are already there. Be loyal, trust Jehovah, wait on Jehovah, follow direction, stay close to the organization. And once that language takes root, members do not always need someone else watching them. They learn to monitor themselves. Number 6, hope becomes connected to loyalty. Once loyalty becomes part of a person's inner voice, the next emotional brick is hope. For Jehovah's Witnesses, the future hope is not just an abstract teaching. It is deeply personal. It includes the promise of living forever in paradise and seeing dead loved ones again. That hope can bring real comfort, especially when someone is grieving. But inside the witness framework, that comfort is also tied to loyalty. A person is not simply told, "You may see your loved one again." The message carries a condition. Stay close to Jehovah, follow direction, and remain inside the organization where that hope is promised. For someone grieving, the thought of seeing a loved one again can become a powerful reason to stay. For those raised inside the religion, this connection starts early. Children may grow up believing that obedience now is tied to life in the new world later, so the future becomes connected to loyalty. And once that connection is made, leaving does not feel like simply walking away from a religion. It can feel like losing your future, your eternal life, and the chance to see the people you loved again. That is why hope becomes such a powerful emotional brick. It gives people something beautiful to hold on to while making the cost of leaving feel almost unbearable. Number 7, loyalty changes the way decisions are made. Once hope is tied to loyalty, the way a person makes decisions begins to change. They may stop asking, "What do I think about this?" Instead, the question becomes, "What would Jehovah want me to do?" But inside the witness framework, Jehovah's direction is closely tied to the organization. So over time, those two ideas can begin to blend together. What would Jehovah want starts to sound like, what does the organization say? That shift is important. A person may have gut feelings, private doubts, or serious concerns about a rule. But if they believe the organization represents God's direction, their own judgment often takes a back seat. This is how loyalty becomes the filter for decision making. It shapes what they accept, what they question, what they ignore, and what they excuse. And eventually, it can shape who they are willing to distance themselves from. At this stage, loyalty is no longer just something discussed at meetings. It becomes the way a person determines what is right and wrong. Number 8, loyalty becomes visible. At this point, loyalty stops being a private feeling. It is measured through public markers, how often a person attends meetings at the Kingdom Hall, whether they comment, how active they are in preaching door to door. This is where the culture begins to monitor itself. A member doesn't have to leave the religion to raise a red flag. They could be dealing with stress, burnout, failing health, or serious family pressure. An elder might step down from serving in his position because he needs room to breathe. A family might miss meetings because life has become overwhelming. But inside the witness world, slowing down can carry spiritual meaning. Without knowing the full story, people may begin to read that retreat as weakness. And that is the point. Inside this system, loyalty is measured by visibility and constant activity. Long before formal shunning ever enters the picture, the culture may already be quietly sorting its members. Some are viewed as strong, while others are viewed as weak. Some are seen as spiritual, while others become questionable. Some are considered loyal, while others may be seen as not quite loyal enough. That is how the loyalty test becomes woven into everyday congregation life. So now we can see how loyalty is built brick by brick. A person may come to believe that God directed them to Jehovah's Witnesses. They may see real improvements in their life and conclude that this must be the truth. They are taught to see Bible stories as personal loyalty tests. And they hear the language of loyalty so often that it can become part of their inner voice. They connect their future hope to staying faithful, and they learn that spirituality is often judged by how visibly active they remain in the congregation. So when shunning finally enters the picture, it doesn't arrive out of nowhere. It lands on top of a foundation that has been built over time. That is why we had to pause and discuss loyalty first. Shunning is not where this story begins. Shunning is where years of organizational loyalty begin to show their full effect. In the next episode, we are going to look at shunning and what it actually looks like inside the religion. Because once you understand how loyalty is built, you can begin to understand the painful tragedy of this system. How someone can cut off a person they love and still genuinely believe they are doing the right thing. Thank you so much for watching. If this video helped you, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Your support helps Hidden Struggles continue bringing these conversations into the light.